he said, you're about to give me a bill that is going to ruin my business. Okay, when you grow up in a family of business owners, do you know how that feels? This guy had tears welling up in his eyes. I mean, I'm about to ruin his life and his business because he can't pay this bill.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the show today. I am super excited. I have Carlotta, who is a tax person. Now, you probably just started to tune out, but don't, because Carlotta makes taxes fun. Carlotta, welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. It's been a pleasure. I love taxes. I've been studying them since I was 14. So yes, I am the nerd, but I am not going to make this boring. I'm going to make it high energy and exciting for you guys.
So if you are an entrepreneur, if you have your own business and you need your taxes done, because let's face it, we all stick our head in the sand when it comes to taxes, you need to talk to Carlotta. Carlotta, tell us a little bit of like the backstory. Where did you come from that you love taxes? Because most people, when they hear the word taxes, run the other way. Instead, you get excited. So tell us a little bit about how you got there.
All right. So do you remember like the little booklets that used to come in the mail that would tell you how to prepare your taxes? Like your parents might have had them. They said 1040 on it, and it was the instruction booklet. Okay. Well, this little booklet came in the mail, and it was laying on the bar at my parents' house. And one day I walked in after school, and I was like, "What's this?" And my dad's like, "You should read that." And I was like, "Okay." And I started reading it. And then I started geeking out on it, and I started getting excited. And I'm like, "This is so cool. Like, this is what I want to do with my life. I love this stuff. This is so neat." I loved the money before. Like I was a worker. I have grown up in my family's business, and this was just like, oh my gosh. So at 14, I started studying tax law. At 18, I went into a big box accounting firm or whatever you want. Really, it's just a tax prep firm, and they were doing my boyfriend's taxes at the time, and they said, this is your refund. And I was like, wait, I already did this because I wanted to see like how, if I knew what I was doing. So I'd already figured it out, and I was like, wait, I didn't get that number. Like I got more of a refund. I was like, what if you did this and changed that and did this? He would get more money back. And they were like, oh my gosh, first they had to call the manager in, because obviously this little person putting the information in on the computer had no clue what was going on. They were like, oh my gosh, that's right. Like, and this lady had been there for 25 years. And the one that was doing the return, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I can't wait to work for the IRS because these people are going down. Like, this is ridiculous. Even they were going to bring him like $2,000. So anyways, I was like, this is ridiculous. They need more training. But either way, they were like, you should come to work here. And I was like, really? Like, what does it take to come to work here? And they were like, oh, it's just this 3-day class. I was like, 3 days? And I could be a tax professional? Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. So anyways, I go to there. I actually taught part of their class because the person teaching it had no clue. And so I'm like, I start working there. So for a few years, I worked there while I'm in college. But all the time, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to work at the IRS because, like, these accountants, they need, that obviously I didn't know they weren't accountants. I thought everyone was an accountant, right? Like, I didn't realize there was a difference at the time. So I applied right out of school and at the IRS because I knew I wanted to work there. It took me 2 years to get on. And between that time, because they don't hire, but like every 15 years or something in our area. In between that time, I went into public accounting. And then that day I got the call and I was like, oh my gosh, this is my lifelong dream. And I finally get to interview. And so I went on the interview and I got the job, and I was like, I'm never leaving this place. Okay. This is like the epitome of what I wanted to be. Well, it wasn't long, and I started auditing business owners. And these were the very people I wanted to help. Remember, I was sitting in that accounting firm, or whatever you want to call it, the tax firm, that time at 18, and I wanted to take those people out because they were screwing over the taxpayers by not telling them the things that they could do to pay less tax, essentially.
I mean, especially for entrepreneurs, right? Because we're the ones we're bootstrapping everything. Like,
exactly. Like we are the ones that are making this economy run. Like, we are the ones paying the taxes. We're the ones that are making employees have money to pay taxes on. Like, entrepreneurs need to pay the least tax legally possible. And so I wanted to work at the IRS so I could help business owners and help people, right? So I thought that's what the IRS was. I mean, honestly, I was an idiot, but I didn't know that. So I was like, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to make a change. Like, I'm going into the IRS, and like, I feel like I'm really going to make a difference.
Hang on. I'm going to make a difference in the IRS. I love it. Please. I mean, you had to be like 21, 22. Yeah. I'm going to make a difference. The IRS is going to be different because I am here.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what I thought. Like, I was like, I'm going to change the world, okay? Or at least the U.S. Like, I really thought that I could make that kind of difference. But it wasn't soon after that, you know, the IRS definitely has a place it's needed, right? Like, I don't down them for that. They expect you, when you start your business, to hire an accountant. They don't say, hey, Carlotta, you just started a business. This is what we expect of you. No, they expect you to go hire an accountant. And accountants, for the most part, are just trying to do as many returns as possible in the amount of time that they have. And so, you know, they're trying to do thousands of returns, and they don't have time to say, hey, this is what you need to do. This is how you can save money. These are the strategies that you should do. I mean, they don't have time to do all of that because their systems are not set up for that. Their systems are set up for compliance, not to be helpful. And so anyways, I went to work at the IRS. I audited small businesses. I ruined a lot of their lives. One day I was sitting across from one of my taxpayers, and he said, Carlotta, when I started this business, I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. I went and hired the best accountant in town. I, read up on some stuff. I thought I was doing all of this correctly. He said, you're about to give me a bill that is going to ruin my business. Okay, when you grow up in a family of business owners, do you know how that feels? This guy had tears welling up in his eyes. I mean, I'm about to ruin his life and his business because he can't pay this bill. And I know how cash flow is in a business. It was like a $40,000 or $50,000 tax bill. That's a lot for a business owner that only makes a profit of $40,000 or $50,000 a year. So those words stung, and he looked at me and he said, the IRS should make it mandatory that you take a business tax course before you ever start a business. So Carlotta had already felt like she was ruining lives every day. So I went and started a ministry at night, helping business owners, helping them with taxes, doing it totally for free just to help. From there, I started thinking about this, and I was like, I have to help, but how do I help? Because at this point I knew there was no changing the IRS, but I never wanted to leave there because I loved my job. So then I went into another audit. It was terrible. A few years later, it was an employee. He had gotten mixed up with the MLM that told him he could write off all this stuff. And at the end of the day, he was going to have a $50,000 tax bill. And he made, as an employee, $40,000 a year. Okay, he was a blue-collar worker. It was terrible. It was terrible. And I left before I could finish his audit. So I say all of that to say, like, having a professional that cares and that can help you and that cares more about you, like that treats how much money you're paying as they would their own, is so important. That's probably the biggest lesson I learned at the IRS.
Well, so you left the IRS and you started your tax preparer, and I can imagine that there is a huge like everybody in the world, I know, myself included, I'm like, taxes, like it's hard enough for me to add like 2 and 2 and 2 together and get any number at all. Like I end up in like La La Land. I come up with an idea that I want to go do, right? I'm like, hey, let's go do this. I'll build a car. That doesn't answer the math problem.
That's what all entrepreneurs do. They just go they go act, and then they're like, oh, but wait,
No
I've got to do
taxes.
all this stuff. Yeah, exactly. A lot there. You wouldn't believe the number of entrepreneurs that actually go a long time without filing, and then they get to the point. Now, I've had people get on a call with me, and they'll be suicidal because they're so sick they cannot sleep because they're so scared the IRS is going to put them in jail. And if that is you, please do not feel like that. That is not going to happen. Get on a call with me. I can calm you in a matter of minutes. That is not life. I mean, obviously, you need to pay your taxes, but it's not that serious.
You're the
Yes,
tax
it's
whisperer.
serious. Yeah, that's what I've actually been called that before. That, yeah, you just, I mean, yes, it's serious, and yes, you need to pay, but you can fix this. It's some people feel like it's so bad they can't fix it,
Well,
and
it's
that's
scary. I
yeah.
mean, the IRS is scary. Like what do you see? Like when you look at TVs, when you look at movies, when you look at all the stories, I don't think that it was created that way. I think the government, of course, they want you to pay your taxes because the
Right.
government doesn't run if you don't. But
Yeah.
I love the fact that you are passionate and excited. So take me through, you left the IRS, you started your business. What's happened since you started your business?
So I started my business, and I just wanted to serve people. My quote is serve with all of your heart and you will always have an abundance. And I've lived by that every day. So I served and I served and I served and I served. And remember me saying this business started as ministry while I was still an agent, and just morphed into a business once I left. See, I was not going to ever be a accounting firm. I was really going to build out that course that guy said everyone needed and just educate, because everyone needs education. But when I went to having accountants implement, they didn't want to implement. I've not found another accountant that will implement like we do. And so that was, heartbreaking for one. But secondly, I knew I had to start a business that would implement what I was teaching, because if you can't find an accountant to implement the things that you need, that's a problem. If their whole point is to just push out a tax return that's going to cost you money, and there's no strategy there to save you, or there's nothing there to make sure that it's correct, that is a real problem. And so I started my firm, but it started as ministry a couple of years before that. So my first problem was I was terrible at charging people. I just wanted to do everything for free. Because I was like, I just want to help everybody and not just do your stuff for free and your stuff for free. I'd sit on here and help people with their TurboTax for free. I just wanted to love on people and help them feel like there was hope. But I learned really fast that I could not run a business that way, right? Like I was going to have to go back to the IRS, which at this point, like I was trying to make a difference. I was kind of torn. But yeah, it was, the first year was kind of scary.
I mean, I see that all the time. I'm a monetization coach. I help people make money. That's my business. And what you see all the time is people want to change the world. They want to have a huge impact, which is awesome. We all want to have impact. I want to have impact. Like that's what drives me every morning to get out of bed. But if you are not charging money, suddenly you're homeless. How much impact can you have if you're stressed about putting food on the table? How much impact can you have when you can't take care of your own needs? It's become kind of cliche to say it, but when the airplane starts to have a problem and the mask falls from the ceiling, if you don't put your mask on first and take care of yourself first, how well can you take care of other people? The second thing is, I'm sure you probably have seen this. People love information, right?
Mhm.
People love to hear how they can do things, but if they don't have a painful consequence to not doing it, they're not going to take action. So getting people to pay you money, if you want to get in shape, if you want to lose weight, the number one thing that you can do is go hire an expensive personal trainer, because you will take it seriously, you show up and you'll get the results. You'll care about what you're eating, because if you're spending $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month on a personal trainer, you're going to count your calories. You're going to watch what you're eating. You're going to get into great shape. The same way, when you want to take something seriously, you spend money. So I imagine that not only everybody wants your service,
Yep.
but the people who implement are the people who are willing to pay you.
Exactly. Or the people that I implement for. So like every
Yeah.
business owner needs me, right? And and they do, but a lot of them can't they feel like they can't afford me, right? So I that was hard at first because I wanted to serve people, but I would take on anyone. And I was like, oh, everyone needs me. Even if you don't make any money, you need me, you know? And so then I got really specific on what we do. So we implement tax strategy, which means and a tax strategy is something that is either a government credit that you maximize to your benefit or a personal deduction that you turn into a business deduction, both of which are strategies. And so we will create a strategy plan. We'll implement those strategies for you. We also do all of your bookkeeping and your taxes. Now, do you have to be on a strategy plan to work with us? No, we can just do your bookkeeping and taxes, but we only work with business owners. That's one thing that I really, had to focus on, because every little old lady that would come in here that needed my help, I'd be like, oh, sure, I'll help you. And then my coach one day, my mentor, he was like, Carlotta, if you would take the bottom half of your clients, you could pay for them to go to H&R Block and get their taxes done, and you would make more money doing that than what you're doing right now, because they take so much time, because I want to help everyone. I want to serve everyone. I want to love on everyone. So you cannot be like that. But I only work with business owners. I only work with business owners who actually have a tax liability. Now, obviously, some of you have a tax liability, but you have, 47 kids, and so your tax liability, you can't fill it. No, just like,
You work with a lot of Mormons, huh?
Kids, but yeah. But if you have one or two kids, then you will have a credit. And so maybe you still get a refund, but it's not that much of a refund. Well, if you look at your tax bill, you still have paid $10,000 in taxes or $15,000 in taxes. But people in general, business owners or employees, they don't see how much they paid in or what their credits are. All they're looking at is what that dollar amount is that they're getting a refund for, or or they're going to have to owe. So that's what we do. So even if you're getting $1,000 refund, you may still be paying $10,000 in taxes or $15,000 in taxes. That is where we come in to help you lower that, so you can get a bigger refund, or so you can pay less.
So I mean, I think what you're doing is 100% correct. You have to focus on your niche. You have to know the outcome that you're getting them, and you have to focus. And that your business mentor was correct. Cut every business that I go into, if they're struggling to make money but they have a lot of business, the easiest thing is to cut off the bottom third, or find a way to move them up. You don't need more leads at that point. If your schedule is full, you need to figure out a way to make more money from the clients that you have, and offload some of your time. So I want to focus on one specific thing that you said, because I think this will help most of the entrepreneurs listening. I know more than half the entrepreneurs I know either don't file their taxes, or they're multiple years behind, or there's all that stuff. And that's a huge, huge pain point. So what would you say to them if somebody's listening to this interview and they're like, oh my God, that's me, I'm having all this anxiety right now? What would you say? What are the steps? Put their mind at ease their anxiety a little bit, and let them know what to expect if they were to come in and talk to you. Because I think it's head in the sand, okay, I'm already 2 years behind. Screw it, I'm going to be 3 years behind.
Yeah. And then what's happening? So I see that all the time. And business owners don't realize, or a lot of them do, by the time they talk to me, they've realized how much this is crippling their business. But if you haven't talked to an accountant yet, you would be surprised at how much of your brain space is actually scared to death of the IRS, you getting that letter or whatever. You may not think about it, you may not think you think about it, but there's all these things holding you back, oh my gosh, I can't buy a house because I haven't done my tax, or I can't buy a car because I haven't done my tax, or what if the IRS catches me doing this? You're always, every play you make is taunted by this fear that the IRS is going to catch you. So I would say, do something. Do not just sit and keep it piling up, because the IRS will catch you, and then you will be in a mess. Do you know who Myron Golden is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I
know his story.
Bragging a little bit. So his story of he got audited, and his thing was I'm either going to pay the tax, or I'm going to just go and not make money for a year and do an offer and compromise. And he said that he chose to do an offer and compromise, and meaning
Explain what that is really quick. Like,
so an offer and compromise is where you owe the IRS tons of money, and you can do an offer for the tax you owe. So like maybe you offer $5,000 to pay off $100,000 in debt. Well, the IRS makes you for a period of time have not made any money. So that's what he did. He just quit working, and then he did an offer and compromise. He thought that would be more beneficial. He's like, that's the worst mistake he ever made. That because he forgot when he became, got into Russell's Inner Circle and all that. Right before that was when he just did not make any money for a long time, and then he forgot how to make sales. Then he, got in this depression phase, and so I would say I would bite the bullet, get the number. That's one thing. Like a lot of you think the number is just compounding, and you have no clue what it is. And if you would just get someone to do it for you. Another thing is don't try to do it yourself. Like I'll get on a call with people and they'll be like, I'll get this together. And it'll be 2 years and they'll call me again. I still ain't done it, but they need me to make them feel better again. So it's like a hit of dopamine or something to get them in momentum to feel like they're doing something, but they still haven't really done anything. So totally hand it off to someone else to do. We can go through all of your books for those years, all of your tax returns, everything. We can do every single bit of it for you. And you don't, like a lot of people are like, we don't have any receipts or we don't have this. We'll use bank statements. We'll get it done.
So let me ask you, because I think the thing that's going through most listeners' mind, if they're 3 years behind, they're like, one, that number is going to be huge. Mm-hmm. Two, what are you going to charge me? Because the reason that I have been behind is because cash flow, especially in COVID, for a lot of businesses has been tight. So how much does it cost?
It really depends on how big your business is. It just depends. I mean, it's like, I can't just give a price over
sure,
because you don't know. Like I have one I'm doing right now. It's 3 businesses over 4 years. But they make a lot of money now. The problem is usually this doesn't become a problem in people's minds till they're making money. Usually, I mean, like now they're like, oh, now I got something to lose. That's usually whenever I get the call. Usually people are not calling me till they're like, now I got something to lose. Now I can lose my house. Now I can lose. They're not calling me whenever they're still making no money. They just aren't. So I don't know how that would, I know I get the call when people actually have started making money and they're like, okay, now I got to do something. And so now, and then they're like, okay, I don't care how much this costs, just do it.
I need
it. So it's going to be expensive. And if you have no money and you have no money to fix it, like, then you're like, what do I do? So then you have to DIY it. Well, then you're never going to get it done unless you take 6 months off and try to go through it all.
So I guess the second question that I have is similar to Myron Golden or anyone who is, you're starting to see this build up. What happens if you have like a 3-year business that you haven't paid taxes on and you do the number and it's $50,000, $60,000, $70,000? Let's just say
set up a payment plan, and then you set up a payment plan. If you don't have any assets, you can try to do an offer and compromise, and see what you could pay. But there's always payment plans. I mean, guys, this isn't something that you have to pay tomorrow. And if you don't pay it, what are they going to do? If you don't have anything, they can't take anything. You can do income-based repayment based on like how much you make. I mean, obviously, if you don't make that much, you can't pay that much. It's not all about they're not taking anything that you don't have.
Well, I think that's what people are scared of. They're like, I haven't paid in 3 years. I'm making, let's say you make $60,000, $70,000 a year in your business. The IRS is going to take all my income. I'm just going to keep putting my head in the sand. Like, what if they do a payment plan? What kind of percentage do you think they're looking at? Just like, so people aren't scared.
Yeah. I mean, well, it depends on how much you're making, right? So, and how much your expenses are. The IRS goes through your income and expenses, but they're not going to ask you to pay more than you can pay. So they're going to look at that. But I mean, it depends on how much you owe. If you owe $75,000 a year or $75,000, but you only make $20,000 after expenses, obviously you can't afford a $5,000 payment. But if you're living it up and you got a big old house and you got nice cars and you got all this stuff, yeah, they're going to expect you to pay a lot because you do have the money. You're just choosing not to spend it on taxes. That's why entrepreneurs can't sleep at night, because they're like, they're gonna come take this house that I think I worked for. No, you didn't earn that house because you got that house and didn't pay any taxes on it. So no, the rest of us are paying your taxes because you chose to spend your money on that, which is fine if you chose that, but they're going to make you take a loan out and pay some of that on that house. So that house on your taxes, which you should, because you really have the money, you just chose not to spend it wisely.
I don't think some entrepreneurs definitely that is the case.
Probably definitely not the majority. The majority they got behind, they didn't make any money. Now they're starting to make money and they want to get it fixed. That's really where most of them are. And they do know, like, one of the things is if you don't do tax strategy, then you're going to keep on paying those high rates because you're not even doing strategy to get your numbers lower. So that's a big problem I see in entrepreneurs. They start making all this money. They didn't set up their stuff correctly. So now they're paying self-employment taxes on every dollar they make. And I mean, it does become stressful, but there's hope. You can get on a call. You can find out what you need to do. It's going to be separate for everybody's situation. It's going to be different, but we can set you out a plan and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to file. This is how much it would cost to do that. And so, yes, that's an option.
If somebody's listening to this and they're like, cool, I just want to call, I want to get that figured out. 1, where do they go? 2, do you charge for it? Is it free? What's the deal?
I usually charge for it because I don't charge for the call, but I charge for the service, obviously. I don't charge for it, but I don't do cleanup work like that unless you're going to do right going forward, which means you're on a forward package with me. You're trying to do right. You're not like because what I'll see is a lot of entrepreneurs will come to me to clean up their stuff and then they'll ghost me because they get nervous, or they're like, I really don't want to pay taxes. They think they can get away with it longer. So as long as you do not call me unless you are like ready to do right going forward. If you're ready to do right going forward, we can help you so much and we can take that burden off of you. And you're going to feel so much better when you get on a call. And so you go to carlottathompson.com. You can put that link in. You can click on a free consult. It's free. I mean, just let me figure out where you're at, where you need to go. And if nothing else, it'll give you a hit of dopamine because you'll feel like you're in momentum. Even though unless you take action, you're not really in momentum, but a lot of entrepreneurs feel like they're taking action just by getting on the call.
So the link is in the show notes if you guys are looking for it. If you're thinking it's going to be some big crazy bill, it will not. Carlotta will take care of you and get you on the right path so you can sleep better at night and focus on what's important, which is growing your business. That's going to transition us into the next part of the conversation, which is actually you building your business. Because that's really, as entrepreneurs, like, we can learn so much from how other people built their business. I love the idea phase. I love brainstorming. So let's talk about, you left the IRS. You were doing this for free. You realized you had to charge people and make money. Did you just like go rent an office? Did you set up in your house? Let's talk about your journey as an entrepreneur. Like what'd that look like?
Yeah, it was so scary. I'll just be honest. It was terrifying at first, but I started January 1st of 2018. I just started in my office and I just started serving people and just helping them and saying, hey, I saw a post the other day and I was like, hey, I'm accepting clients.
How'd you get people in?
I think I did their stuff for like $100 and I went and like posted in some groups, online, like local. Now, then because I was teaching, like I started talking about, saving taxes and doing all this stuff, but just to pay the bills, I had to get some local clients that were just just personal returns. And then I started, tax strategy was my thing. So I focus on tax strategy and I can save people a lot of taxes with strategy. So I would do a strategy call and I would say, okay, this is how much I can save you. And then I would sell a package, and it would be like monthly bookkeeping and tax prep and some other stuff included. And then I would actually implement the strategies. And so I would, if they rented their home to themselves from the business, I would do all the invoices and everything to make that happen, because entrepreneurs do not have time to do all the things to save money on taxes. They would just rather make more money. And so that's what we've done, is it's like tax savings on autopilot. We do all the work for you to save the taxes. All you have to do is
Make the money.
do what we tell you to do. Like, if we tell you to rent your home to yourself, that means you got to do some calls in your home. Like, it's not hard. But if we tell you to hire your kids, that means you have to put them in some ads, like those things. But that's where we focus, and we save people a lot of money. And so we would save people, whenever I was doing this, I would be like, I might save someone $100,000 in a year, and I would charge like $500 or $600. Okay. And so I was looking for like $2 an hour, really. Cause it takes a lot of time on my part to save someone that much money. Obviously that's a bigger business, right? That actually has to pay $100,000 in taxes. But that's where I started. I just started doing it for free. The guy that I saved $100,000 for, actually, I don't even think I didn't charge him until I'd been helping him for a year. That is how I grew my whole business, is serving people. And then they would refer me to other people, and I would serve them. And then I would charge a little bit more, and then, the next person. So it's really referral based. Up until this point, all of my business has been based on referrals, which speaks volumes, but that's not a way to scale your business. So now we're getting into the marketing phase of the whole business, and running ads and stuff like that. But until this day, or until October 15th, it will have been totally ran based on referrals.
Nice. That is the sign of you're doing something right. So I want to talk about some of the growth pains, because we all have growing pains when our business grows. So you went from doing free workshops to charging a little bit to getting referrals. And I'm picturing referrals coming in and you sitting in your office being like, oh my goodness. And like we talked before the call, you were like, I hope my family just recognizes me, because we're in the middle of tax season.
Yeah.
So talk about, like, how did your family handle this? Because I imagine when you worked at the IRS, you had normal hours.
Yeah, it's been really difficult. I guess probably more difficult on me because I'm the mom and I'm supposed to be there for everything. I work a lot of hours during some parts of the year, and I do that because my team only works 40 hours a week. I only allow them to work 40 hours a week because I remember how it was working in public accounting, where you had to work 70 or 80 hours a week and you couldn't have a family. And so I work hard so they don't have to work hard. And that's how it is. So we work, I take up all of the slack if there is any, and that's what I do because I'm the business owner, right? It falls on my shoulders. So yeah, it was hard. It's hard for my kids. Like right now, like this morning, I worked till 2:30 this morning. And my baby boy, he's 4 now, and he's like, Mom, when are you coming home? Like, when are you going to not go to work all day? And it's heartbreaking, but it's definitely seasons. I would not go back to the IRS or any employment job for any amount of money, because I do have freedom. If I want to go over there and lay down and take a nap, I can do that. No one can tell me what I can do and what I can't do. It's just a joy of having freedom, but it's been hard. I'm not gonna lie. But I feel like I'm on the brink of, like, I keep hiring people and hiring more people and hiring more people. And I feel like at some point, all these people I'm hiring are going to relieve me of all the things that I'm doing as well.
So let's talk a little bit about hiring. One of the things, I've had several discussions actually this week around, how do you hire people? Are you using, I know we talked about Alex Sharpin a little bit. Are you using the 4R document?
Oh, for sure.
And is it working?
I have never given Alex Sharpin a dime, but I listen to everything that man says. If he says it, it's gold, because he is the one person that has changed my business the most. As far as my mentor, definitely is the reason why I'm still in business, but Alex Sharpin has fundamentally changed my business through every growth phase of my business. And the reason why is because of the processes and hiring people and all of that. So my first few hires, they were terrible. And that was before I got to the 4R, before I created my 4R document. I was like, okay, I got to do this document because they weren't terrible because they were terrible. They were terrible because I didn't know what the crap I was hiring them for. Like most entrepreneurs, they're like, I just need help. I'll take anyone. You're a warm body. Like, come help me. Oh, my husband said you might be good at this. Come help me. And I had no idea like what to have them even do. I was like, I just need help. I'm drowning.
So I want to jump in really quick because you said two really good things. If you're out there and you're like, I need to hire, I have these problems. The first thing is you are responsible for your employees' success. You said this so well. The people who say, "Oh, I hired so and so and they didn't work out. They weren't a hard worker. They didn't do a good job." That is your fault, not theirs. The minute you own that responsibility, and you said it, right? I mean, the minute you own that responsibility, you will start hiring better people. It's on you to learn how to hire better.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing that you said was entrepreneurs, we're like, I'm just going to hire. And we tend to look at our friends and our family. I know I've made this mistake. I've hired both because we want to help them. We're usually giving them money anyway.
Exactly.
And we're like, okay, cool. You can handle support calls. You'll be great at it.
Yeah.
But in reality, they're horrible at it because they think you owe them favors. They think like, oh, I'm going to take that extra cup of coffee. I'm going to be 20 minutes late today. I'm going to check out early. You understand. And it puts you in a bind. So my two suggestions, first off, take responsibility for hiring correctly, which we're going to go through the 4R doc. I think that's worth talking about. And number two, don't hire friends and family. No matter how tempting it is, don't do it.
And I say that, and we have a lot of friends and family in our firm, but we wouldn't hire them just because they're friends or family. So we make them go through the same process. And that's because they are like, my sister-in-law is my assistant. She's been my friend since she was like 9 years old. But she is the most loyal person to me because it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter but she's my personal assistant. So I can hire her for that because if I say go pick up my kids, she goes and picks up my kids. If I say go clean my house, she goes and cleans my house. If I say make this call, she makes that call. I didn't hire her for an accounting role. If I would have hired her for an accounting role, no, she would not be a good fit. My brother-in-law, he is my husband's assistant, and he does everything for him. Those people will always be your most loyal because usually they'll be your most loyal because they're your family. And like, I know both of them are never leaving us, but I would never hire them for a job that they weren't capable of. So I would say, and Alex talks about this, like, you can hire family, but they have to go through the same process as everyone else. They have to hit those 4R document thing. They have to qualify. And those positions that I hired those for, they qualify for those. On the flip side, I hired some people in the beginning, and I didn't know what they were going to do. I was just like, help me. I need help. And the thing I did best, and this is probably the best thing I did for my success, was I hired quick. And I guess I could afford to do this because my husband was supporting our family. Like, I didn't have to make money. So I started my business January 1st, and I hired in March. And I'll tell you, I know I'm a Christian, so I'm just going to say this. I prayed and prayed and prayed for God to send me someone that was going to help my business. And my first hire, her name is Angela. She is our tax strategy manager now. I couldn't pay her much. She started for $15 an hour, okay? Like, that's unheard of for an accountant. I know that. I felt terrible, but I wouldn't charge anything, and like, to pay her $15 an hour was terrible. I felt bad, but she needed the money and I needed the help. So it was a good match.
How'd that interview go?
I was like, I just need someone to help me. What do you do? I just need a bookkeeper. I hate QuickBooks. Can you help me? I mean, I'm an accountant and I can do general ledgers all day long and I am a master at it, but I don't like doing it. And so it's not that I don't know how to do it. I just don't like doing it. So that's what I did. That was one thing that I had to do every day. It was the thing I probably spent 50% of my time on. So I just said, here, I'll hire, you're a QuickBooks she's a QuickBooks expert. and she is an accountant. She has a master's in accounting. I mean, she's amazing. What kind of person that has a master's in accounting will only work for $15? That's how I knew it was a match made in heaven. Now she makes a lot more than that, and she runs our business. She's my integrator. She runs the whole business. I mean, as far as like running the employees and doing everything. But yeah. I was just like desperate. I didn't have a 4R document. I was like, I ain't got much money and I need somebody that can do QuickBooks. And who would have thought that she would have applied? Now, do what?
Yeah, I mean, it worked. She showed up.
It worked. And now she runs the business. And actually, she lives in Washington. She's moving to Arkansas because we're growing this thing nationwide. Our team is spread out all throughout the nation. But she's moving here so we can work, so she can be in the office and we can work closer together.
That's awesome.
Started out as a joke last week, and then we sent it to her husband, and her husband sent back house listings close to us, and I was like, oh my gosh, like he'd really do it. And then it all started from there. So yeah, we're just moving fast.
So let's dive into the 4R doc, because I think a lot of the people listening are probably like, what is that? They're probably Googling it right now. I'm going to mine right now. So I have been playing around with this document, and I hire in the Philippines. My whole team is in the Philippines.
Oh.
I built this for hiring over there, and it has worked like a charm. Alex's advice is great. If you are looking at growing or scaling your business, definitely check out Alex Sharpen, Momentum Podcast. He is awesome. So the 4R document is role, responsibility, results, and requirement.
Results. That's the one.
And this is just a bullet list, and you need to be as clear and concise as possible. The role is the overview of the position. Focus on summarizing the tasks. The responsibilities are the essential tasks in performing the roles in a bullet point list. Keep it as concise as possible. Results are the expected outcomes. Think about the consequences of not performing this job functions. And then the requirements are the expected proficiencies. These are the things that they either have or they do not have.
Yep.
That's it. When you write this out.
It's easy to do. And if you have the results, then you can put that, like, you know what you want them to achieve. You can put that into, it's like comparing what they did, like how much percentage did they complete.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an employee review. This is what you're expected to do. This is what you actually did.
Yeah, we just call it something different, like a board or something. Game results. I don't know what we call it. But
I mean, it's cut and dry. It's not that result that you're talking about is not emotion based. It's you were supposed to do this. Did you or did you not complete it? That way, there's no hard feelings. When I used to manage 300 people, and when we would sit down and have that discussion, it was you did this or you did not. There's no it's black or white. There's no gray area.
Yeah, we call it the scorecard. So our assistant like goes in, so we have everything on Monday, like everything they're supposed to do. And our assistant goes in at every deadline and says, okay, this is your score. This is what percentage you made. And if you don't do it, like that's what our bonuses are based on. Everybody has a flat rate of what they get paid. And then if they do well on their scorecard, that goes into their annual bonus. And so it's kind of cool. I mean, it's not emotion based or anything. You either did it or you didn't do it.
Let's talk about hiring a little bit more. I know you said you had some bad hires and you had some good hires. Yeah. What did you do with the bad hires? Because I think that is every entrepreneur's fear. Though they start researching, they're like, I got to hire. And then they either hire too quickly and hire somebody that's a bad fit, or they don't hire at all and it shoestrings them and they can't end up growing their business. So let's talk about the bad hires. How'd you handle them?
Oh my gosh. I had this story of this young girl I hired one time, and she was just getting her degree, and she was my husband's friend. And he was like, she was in nursing school and she's really good at project management. So I was like, I need a project manager. I'm overwhelmed. Like, surely she can solve all these problems for me because that's terrible. And I hired her and she was like, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, I don't even know.
Project manage, go.
Yeah, I'm like, go project manage something. And she's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, can you just come to the office? Because I don't even know. And she's like, because I was like, oh, maybe you should get to work virtual. I don't know. Then I had her like review this document. And then I was like, look, I'm sorry, this isn't working. I don't even know what I want you to do. And I'm like, she was like, it's okay. I understand. Like, I don't, it was just so weird. But I'd given this girl like a really good job after accounting school as an accountant. She didn't even know how to do accounting. Like, I felt terrible. So don't do what I like. You have to know what you're hiring for. If you don't even know what they're going to do whenever you hire them, like, so now we're like, you have to have 5 years of experience. You have to be an EA or CPA. You have to have all these things. So whenever I hire you, I can do like I'm doing right now. I hired a girl last week. She has been chargeable and working ever since she started. I don't have time to give you 6 months to learn how to do the job. I need you to be able to get going and help us as the day you get hired. And so that's really what we do.
What would you tell somebody who is sitting there and they're like, I just need help. My pants are on fire. I need help right now. What would be the one thing that you would tell them to do when they're hiring? Because that is a huge pain point that I think all entrepreneurs go through when they're at that, like, they're making enough money that there's a huge amount of pressure on them. They're doing enough clients or enough sales, whatever it is. And they're like,
Well, that's the first, like I said, the first thing I did was hire, and I couldn't afford it, but I hired anyway, because I know that is the quickest way to make money in your business, is to have more of you. Now, we'll get to that. We'll get to what I want to say about that in a second, because I was so the entrepreneur that it was like, nobody can do what I do. Wait, we'll get to that in a minute. So I would say what I knew is how much time I spent on each thing. So I know as an accounting firm, like 50% of my time was spent on stupid bookkeeping. And when I say stupid, like, I despise bookkeeping. I love the numbers. I love the strategy. I love to go through the bookkeeping, but the actual part of like putting in every little piece, the entry part, I don't enjoy that. Angela loves it. She loves it. She could sit and do it all day long. And I'm like, oh my, that is terrible. So you just need the person that loves to do what you hate to do. And that way y'all can come together and form a better team. So you're not going to be able to outsource everything, right? Like I only outsourced that one part. All she could do is bookkeeping. Okay. So she couldn't do sales, but that's another thing that new entrepreneurs do. They try to like have their people do all of those things. You're just like, here, just do all this. That ain't how you cannot do that. So I still had to do sales call, and I still had to do all the taxes, still had to do all the tax strategy. I still had to do everything except that one thing I gave her. So I would say make your list of all the things that you have to do and figure out what you want to hand off to someone else, and then make your 4R document based on that. You know, find someone that can do all of that or a lot of that. Obviously, a lot of entrepreneurs, they make this mistake of like trying to find this unicorn that can do all these 75,000 things. Let's get real. You only know how to do all that because you're an entrepreneur and you had to bootstrap your way, and you had to learn all the things like Facebook ads and how to grow a group and social media marketing and bookkeeping. And like, you're not going to find someone else that knows how to do all that unless they're an entrepreneur, and then you don't want to hire them. That's another mistake I made, was hiring entrepreneurs. I don't hire entrepreneurs anymore. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you can't work for me because you've been trying to steal all my stuff. And not only that, you are so focused on your own business that you don't want to help me in mine, which is great. Like, but you don't want to hire people that are also entrepreneurs, because it will backfire on you.
So I think you hit on so many points. I'm glad you brought up, like, I know the first time I hired, I literally went out and I was like, I need the unicorn. I need the unicorn. I need the unicorn. But the truth is, here's how I tell people to hire now when I have this discussion. I'm like, make a list of everything that you do in your business. Like, let's just take 15 minutes with brainstorming. Now I want you to rank them 1 to whatever number it is, 1 to 10, 1 to 20. Which ones are you best at and which ones are you worst at? And start hiring for the ones you're worst at, because don't focus on building your weaknesses, focus on building your strengths. That's how you grow your business the fastest. Look at what you're weakest at. You did that. Bookkeeping. I hate doing it. I don't want to do it. Screw that. I'm hiring it.
And for me, it's probably actually one of my biggest strengths, but I just don't like doing it.
Well, that's
another thing. Like, if you hate it, don't do it.
Yeah, hire it out.
As an entrepreneur, you have to learn. Another thing I'll say is, don't outsource something until you know how to do it. Because if you do, I see this all the time with my clients. They'll outsource Facebook ads and they have no freaking clue what they even got or whatever. And they're just
They're
spewing all this
paying
money.
5K a month for nothing.
Exactly. And I'm like, do you even know what Facebook, like, do you even know what results you're supposed to get? Like, are you just throwing money into the wind? They're like, well, I don't know how to do them. Figure it out. That's what this, what's
Just that you don't have to figure it out. This is like, we're going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole. You don't have to figure it out to the point that you're a rock star at it. You have to figure it out so that you you have to figure out the minimal viable bit. So for Facebook ads specifically, just learn how to use Facebook Ads Manager and learn what a good cost per click is for your industry. This will take you 3 or 4 days. Study some YouTube videos, dive in. I know it's painful, but you're an entrepreneur. Figure that crap out. Like, that's what we do. We solve difficult problems.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you are. I had a client last week spending $5K a month for a Facebook ads agency. His ad budget was $800.
Oh.
So he's spending $5,800 a month. How many leads are you getting for $800? And he was like, well, that's what they told me it cost. I went in, I won't disclose too much. I went in and looked at his ads account. They had 2 ads running for him with 1 creative per ad. Anyone who knows Facebook ads knows that that's about a $500 a month thing, if anything. He could have been doing it himself. We had the conversation. Anyway, I want to get out of Facebook ads.
Yeah, but I'm just using that as an example because it's like one of those things that a lot of people overspend. They don't know anything about it. Just like accounting. Like, I have the tax course because every single person has to learn what they can deduct. If you don't know what you can deduct, how am I supposed to help you save the most tax? Because I'm not even seeing everything, right? I'm only seeing what you put through the business. So you're leaving off all the things that you could do that I don't even know you do because I'm not with you. I'm not with you at the store. I'm not with you whenever you go somewhere. So that's one of the things that I say, go through the tax course. It doesn't take you long to go through it, but you will save so much money over the life of your business that don't even know that you would have saved, just because now you know how to look at things instead of always doubting yourself. Like, I can't write those earphones off. I don't use them all the time for business, or I can't write that off. But like, people inherently with the IRS, they're always like, oh, I might get in trouble for that. Like, no, like, every time I go to the store, I look at my money and I say, what of this am I going to use for business primarily? I'm putting it in a separate card, and then I'm going to write it off. So that's what I would say is, figure out a little bit about every step, and that way you can outsource it.
So I want to kind of bring this full circle. What does the next 6 months to a year hold for you? What are you doing to grow? What does that look like? Your eyes got all bright and shiny. So let's hear about it.
So my quote, and I say this all the time, is serve with all of your heart and you will always have an abundance. And I started my business from serving. I still serve all the time, and I get on and I do calls for free and all of that. So that has created my business that has been totally referral based until now, actually till October 15th. And October 15th, we are launching the ads, the joint venture partnerships, the low ticket offer, all the amazingness that comes with having a business online. And so I'm really excited to see how it all goes. I've never done any of this, so I'm launching it all at the same time because I'm just like, I just want to have a big bang, because I know every business owner that doesn't know who I am is losing money right now. Like, I know that you have to, if you don't know me, you're paying too much in taxes. And because
that's your catchphrase right there. That should just be on your business card.
If you don't know me, you're paying too much. And it's true. I never have seen another accountant that does what we do. I've never seen another accountant that cares like I do. And that's really what it takes. It takes someone that does the strategy. It takes someone that cares. And it takes someone that has processes. If they don't have a process around saving you money, then you will pay too much. I mean, I don't know of any other firm that's built like that. So we are gearing up because I'm going to be the category queen of tax strategy in the United States. because that is what that's like, money doesn't matter to me. I live in a shack. I'm just saying, like, I don't care about the money. What I care about is the impact. And if I can help you save money, then you can further the impact of whatever you care about. So if it's Operation Underground Railroad or your church or, saving kids in Africa, like, you can further the mission that you have if I can save you tax dollars. And so that's what it's all about for me. But I know, like, if I don't do I'm doing you a disservice if you don't know who I am.
I love it. On that note, we are going to wrap this up. Carlotta, I know you gave out your your website earlier, but how can people get a hold of you? And give us a little preview of the low ticket offer, because I think people want that. This will come out. This will be, I think a lot of people are going to pay attention. So where do they go to get the low ticket offer? What is it?
Well, we don't have a website yet, but it'll be on carlottathompson.com. The low ticket offer is going to launch Black Friday, and it is all about the profit. I can't tell you the name. I guess that's definitely a secret for now. But it's gamifying this whole thing, and it's like a game that will
making taxes fun.
Yeah, it makes taxes fun, and it's gamifying you to get to the $1 million in profit. So that's a big deal. It's easier to get to $1 million in sales than $1 million in profit. So we're gamifying that whole process to make the money, protect the money, and then invest the money is really where we're focused on, because we don't want you just to focus on taxes. Actually, we want you to grow your wealth and be financially free and, just do all the things. So carlottathompson.com, and you can find me on Facebook. Carlotta Thompson is my personal profile. Yes, I do business on my personal profile, and then my business is Carlotta Thompson Tax Strategist. So I look forward to meeting with all you guys. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, and this has been an amazing talk with you.
Awesome. Carlotta, thank you so much. Everyone who's listening, tune in next time. Until then, take action, change lives, and make money. I will see you soon.